Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It's Tuesday, May 20th, in the year of our Lord 2025. And Joe Biden has cancer. So everybody needs to be praying for Joe Biden once more because he's in the news cycle again. And how contrived could this be? That everyone now is talking about poor Joe Biden. Well, a lot can be made of this, and as I said yesterday, if it is true, God bless him, and I hope he does well with the treatments that are going to be necessary to help him. But otherwise, in my heart, I feel it's just another Democratic scam to cover up the lying and cheating that was done to us for 4 years, and now Even Gumby Head Morning Joe has to eat his words in some cases with what's going on. And the truth was exposed on his show a mere few hours ago by a doctor who would know exactly what was going on. There is no way that I am going to believe that after the release of the Her tapes, the verbal mishmash that was an interview, it is no wonder that Her didn't want to take this into a prosecution phase, even though he's set with a garage full of things that he had taken and placed all over the place for Hunter Biden and anyone else that cared to rummage through confidential paperwork that was left in a Corvette and in a garage and in bathrooms in some cases, and used with a ghostwriter to write a book who had full access to all of this. It is mind-boggling on how he got away with that, but now we know. We know that he's been a cognitive mess for all the 4 years that he sat in the White House, supposedly acting as the president. We know now when you listen to just this morning's news on a couple of channels, they'll tell you straight out that they had to shoot him up with something to get him through the State of the Union address and make him look like a plausible thinking person, instead of stumbling through word salads that made no sense. And we also know that when he came out earlier in 2023 with the idea that, he had cancer like everybody else in Delaware because of climate change, it turned out, well, the news media tried to say later on that it was a skin cancer that was already taken care of. But now they're trying to steer it for us to believe that he actually accidentally admitted that he had this prostate cancer going on. Well, let's take a look at Gumby Head yesterday on the morning show with a doctor that exposed it all. Take a look right here.
Again, Zeke, you're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Well, I'll be damned.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever. Think about that.
As we have said before, in these circumstances, there is a cost to us as a news organization to knowingly broadcast untrue things. We are here to bring you the news.
It's interesting, and if you've ever had any doubts in your mind about the validity of that we did have a president for 4 years, this ought to wake you up and make you realize that what some people were saying all along was actually the truth. Not right-wing conspiracy theories. It was actually happening. And there you have it. The lies are compounding by more lies on top of it. And guess who's going right along with the lies from the left is the left-stream media. One more time, they're trying to convince us that we didn't see what we had seen. We were looking at it in the wrong fashion. I'd like to know, and I'm sure many of you out there would like to know, who the heck was the president for 4 years? Who the heck was running the auto pen? Was it Hunter? Was it Jill? Was it some low-ranking bureaucrat that just got his jollies? These are answers that we need to find out. We need to be told. There's a lot of stuff, and I believe it's still being covered up. Even the Epstein mess sounds fishy to me. Still. And Kash Patel says, oh, no, it wasn't suicide. Well, there's too many loose ends there for me to buy that, but I guess there's a reason they don't want to tell us what the real truth is. But let's get into what's really important right now that the news media is somewhat failing to cover, and that is the fact that we had conversations, or the president had conversations with Putin directly yesterday about getting together and putting an end to the massacres that are going on over on their side and their continent, where the war is raging and people are losing lives on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully we'll come to something sooner rather than later. But the big news is he's at Congress this morning talking to the Republican people in the basement over there in the Capitol building, trying to get this big, beautiful bill through. There's some reticence on parts of people over things such as they don't want to have any look-see into the fraud and misuse of money that is going on in Medicaid, and that's one of the sticky issues. And there's other issues over the fact that Of course, the Democratic side does not want, giving tax breaks to anybody, because that cuts their freewheeling spending plans that they have for the next 4 years. And they're not happy with that. But we'll see where that goes. And, as Trump said a while back when things were moving along, they messed up. They had a chance to actually screw us even further had they not interfered with the 2020 election and cost him that election. And now they have to deal with somebody at a time that they don't want to deal with somebody to get their spending cash drawer refilled by raising the hell out of taxes for anybody that has a job in this country, while Medicaid is being freely given to people that are sitting home, that are well capable of working but don't want to work, and we're giving them health care. We're giving illegal aliens Medicaid health care, and the thing was designed for people that had catastrophic illness and children to benefit from Medicaid. But Congress wants it for everybody, including every person in jail, right on down to the people who crashed the border. And, they messed up. They could have gotten away with this had they not fooled around in 2020. Let's take a look right here.
Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping. And I said, I'll speak to him. And I spoke to this gentleman who was obviously Scandinavian, seriously Scandinavian, and very nice. I couldn't get him off the phone because he was so starved for love. He just kept, I must have had him for 2 hours. I couldn't. I said, sir, I have to go. I'm president-elect. Yes. All I said to him, yes, 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 we will take good care. They wanted to know that if they choose us for the Olympics, will we treat them nicely? And I said, we're going to treat you like you've never been treated. And then he wanted to talk about anything because nobody would talk to him. Now he talks to me. And we got the Olympics. And then we got through Johnny, who's the boss. He's a friend of mine. We got the World Cup. I got them both. And I said, man, I won't be president. I got the Olympics and the World Cup, and I won't be president. And they're going to forget that I got them. Nobody's going to mention it because, a little bit, that's the way life is. And then they rigged the election. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again, and I'll shove it up their ass. And that's what I did. And all of a sudden, I then realized, I said, you know what? I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I got the 250th. Look at the way this works out. So if they would have left us alone and wouldn't have cheated on the election and wouldn't have rigged it, I would have been retired right now. I would have been happily doing something else. And instead, they have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it? Yeah. They have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it? 4 more years.
It's really interesting. They could have gotten away with a lot more right under our noses had they just let him retire and go away. And now they are screaming and hollering that he's going to try to get a 3rd term. And he's the master troller, and he'll put hats out there and indicate this and indicate that just to keep them on their toes anymore. And they don't know how to act any more than their followers out in the streets that are screaming and crying about a loss of free things that they feel that they're entitled to. Just wait till you see our medical visit into Stupid Town today. That ought to tell you a lot about what people that follow the Democratic Party are like, and what wokeism did in the Obama Biden years to bring this country to its knees and weaken us in the world's eyes, both militarily and when people, normal people, tune into their TV and see what you're seeing, they got to say, wow, there's something wrong there, and no one's looking at it. They let the world, in some cases, go into chaos. The Ukraine would probably not have happened in the fashion that it did. The Gaza Strip and the Hamas boldness and readiness to fight were propagated by Iran, who was broke, until Obama sent an entire plane load of money over there, and then we locked down all their world's bank accounts. They were broke. They couldn't fund Hamas. And then Joe Biden gets in, and whoever was pulling the strings there, because we now know he wasn't making any of these decisions, someone else was, they gave them even more money and released all the sanctions on them. So they enriched themselves so they can now support terror throughout the Middle East. This is the truth of what's going on. This is the truth that you're not going to hear on Morning Jackass, Gumby Head there, or any of the CNN networks, ABC, NBC, CBS. They're more interested in Joe's prostate cancer. And this is, I told you yesterday, you were going to hear this all week long. And guess what dominated the morning news? Joe's prostate cancer. If it is true at all, I don't mean to say that it's not something to pray for. It is. But we don't need the entire country praying for someone who lied to us for 4 years and an organization that backed it and the news media that propagated the lies and covered up what was really going on before our very eyes. No, God, please, no, never let this happen again. And with that, take a look right here.
Joe Biden left office in January. He just so happens to have cancer now. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I say?
Leave him alone now. Leave him alone. Joe Biden has prostate cancer. Everybody, leave him the f*** alone. Thanks.
How about no? Wrong president. Supposed to be the other one.
Oh, God, please, no! No! No!
I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
Are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
When I was a guy, I always had to work out and do cardio and have abs. But now that I'm a woman, I don't know why, but I feel like I can just gain weight.
Pasta with extra garlic, French fries with lots of vinegar, and a side of onion rings with lots and lots of sour cream.
Well, that's going to bring us on down the street over to Stupid Town for a visit and get the missing medical help quandary that they're in as they see it. And we found this guy online, and I thought that you all should be able to take a look at this character. So welcome to Stupid Town.
I am offended that our children are not receiving affordable gender reassignment surgery along with hormone blockers and access to abortions. This alone is a threat to our democracy. It just shows that you people do not care about our children, and that these are the same people who refuse to obey the science and get fully vaccinated. It's science, people! Science! Science!
That is almost, in my book, frightening. And if I were you, I would be frightened too, because these people are not just a handful anymore. They're getting plentiful in a town near you. And I don't know what's driving it or who's supporting it, but I have a pretty good idea that it's very well connected into the Green New Deal scam and the wokeness situation and the DEI crap that went on under the Biden, Obama, Harris administration. And I include him in there because, in my estimation, he's probably knew all along what was going on, and he got his few little innuendos in there from time to time. And, and people like actors like Clooney, you have to remember these actors like Clooney and De Niro and all of them that are out there screaming at the top of their lungs they lie for a living. They're actors. They pretend to be other people. They do it well. So why would you believe anything that they come up with other than the fact that they themselves have an agenda or they are benefiting somehow from having one person in party rather than another? And then to put the millions in, well, actually, in Harris's case, $1.5 billion to win an election and lose. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? But listen, the right has been wrong a lot of times. The right has brought us into wars and lost a lot of our young people throughout the years. So they're not innocent, and they're not walking around in white garb over this. But the Democrats brought it to an all-new level of fooling you and me in ways that we never imagined. And that includes the COVID outbreak and all of the lockdown situations. This was all a manipulation. The dumbing down of our school systems was a manipulation right out of the communist playbook on how to destroy a country and move in communism to benefit a few and make the masses do all the work. And that's what they were up to. And if you really want a rundown on it, just give Bernie Sanders a call. He's got the playbook. And now AOC has the playbook. And I would be very darn careful in upcoming elections where any of these people that have this wherewithal to continue the DEI programs or the dumbing down of education programs or the fear mongering against what disease could bring us all to ruination. And by the way, these diseases that they're talking about are being manufactured as chemical warfare, not only in this country, but in the Ukraine, in the Wuhan labs, and probably several other places around the world that we have not had exposed yet. So be very, very careful, because we can do this the right way. The way this country was founded was on the principles of God and how to manage a country to protect its citizens and the citizens to protect themselves against the tyranny that has taken place. And the tyranny is coming straight from the Democratic Party with the help of some Republicans over there in sheep's clothing that are just as guilty. And I don't even want to get started on, the fact that we had an Iraq war and an Afghan war that we should have learned from experiences of even Russia and what happened with them in Afghanistan. We should have known better. But to withdraw from those theaters in the fashion that we withdrew, leaving lives to be lost after the withdrawal and during the withdrawal, was a huge mistake, and we now know it was not a mistake made by Joe Biden. So I would love to know who in that Situation Room made that decision to pull the pin on that balloon, because that was the beginning of the end of anyone thinking that they should be afraid of us as a military that will protect their citizenry and do an upstanding job at ending the conflict. We do now have some people that are capable of doing this. And hopefully, I pray every day that this man in the White House right now and his cabinet, and please pray daily for them, they need the help of God to pull out this debauchery of a government that has sunk to this level. And I'm going to take you all the way back to LBJ on some of this. But the Bushes were no help. And the only reason we were in Iraq was to finish a job that Bush 1 started and didn't complete. And it was pushed by the Cheneys. And never forget what the Cheneys helped us into war-wise, because the Cheneys made a ton of money from the weapons manufacturers and the war machines and the military-industrial complex that this country is still fighting right now, because they are the power behind all of those talking faces that you see sitting in the seats of Congress on the House side and the Senate side that have one thing and one thing only to do. And it's not what you elected them to do. It's what's going to benefit the military-industrial complex that hate right now the Trump administration as a direct result of maybe us not being in wars anymore. And that, in a nutshell, is what we have to look out for. So God bless you all. Enjoy this wonderful Tuesday. Get out and see what God has given us to walk through, and pray every day for peace across the world and peace in this land, and to get the left side of this country to start to talk one more time with the other side, because we're not that far apart in ideology, and we have to let go of the woke nonsense and the thinking that people can be different if they want to be different, and it should not be an issue. Be different any way you want, but do not ever try to convince your neighbor or your family that they have to go along with your ideas, whether they're right or wrong. I'm not the person to judge that. We have an ultimate judge at the end of every one of our lives. We have to account for the things that we've done and the harm that we've done to people or the good that we've done to people. And I tell you this all the time. When you're walking through a store today or down the side of the street and someone is passing, give them a smile. Give them a hello. Do not look at somebody because they're different and make a face. Be kind, and kindness will in turn come to you. And this is how we are going to learn to live together in harmony one more time. And we need to pray for it. So enjoy your Tuesday. Go out and get a taco. It's Taco Tuesday. And to all of you out there, God bless. And we'll see you here tomorrow on the Kaiser Report one more time. So stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more fun, memes, and news bits. Be kind. Bye now.